Greater Bellevue Area Chamber of Commerce Candidate Forum. Tonight you will hear from the candidates in the Mayor, City Council, Clerk of the District Court, and Sarpy County Treasurer races. We want to thank James with Bellevue University. He is going to be recording the event tonight so that this can play back on BTV throughout the rest of the election cycle up until May 10th. The forum will be available, like I said, up until May 10th, and we also want to thank the media that is present here tonight. We have members from the television media and newsprint and online, so thank you so much for coming tonight, because it's really important to get this out so that voters are informed. I'd like to introduce, well, I should probably introduce myself at first. I'm sorry. I'm Michelle Andel. I am the president of the Chamber of Commerce, and we're very honored to have you here, so thank you for being here tonight. Now I would like to introduce you to Tori Pantaleon. He is our moderator for the evening. Tori has had a remarkable career in radio and television as a broadcaster and a producer, and most recently retired as the director from the Papio Vision channel. And when he's not working in the world of marketing and communications, Tori plays in a local favorite band, the Blues Agents, and serves as the master of ceremonies for many local events. Please join me in welcoming Tori Pantaleon.
Thank you, Michelle, and thanks for recording this program, because my children will not believe I just got an ovation. They would not believe that. And I also want to acknowledge James, who was a student of mine in that broadcast journalism class I teach at UNO. So James, don't make any mistakes tonight, okay? But seriously, thank you, Michelle, and I want to thank everyone to the Bellevue Chamber Candidate Forum. And I truly am honored to be part of this event. Since I retired, it's nice to be thought of, and Michelle thought I'd be the perfect person for this, so I hope I don't let anybody down. I want to give a special welcome to all the candidates participating, as well as the viewers watching this event at home. Before we begin, though, I need to review the rules of engagement for tonight's forum. And we would hope that everybody will follow these rules. Each candidate will have 3 minutes for opening statements. And then the moderator, who is me, will ask each candidate predetermined questions that we provided to candidates prior to the forum. Each candidate will be allowed 2 minutes to answer each question and 2 minutes for closing statements. The audience, please do not applaud until the entire segment is done. There will be an opportunity for candidates to interact with the guests following the event. And with that, let's begin the forum.
Just a couple housekeeping notes for anybody who is not a candidate. Prior to the forum, we had the candidates from each race come up and select a number to determine the order in which the questions would be asked. Candidates, we will have 2 sheets of paper tonight. When you hit the 1 minute 30-second mark, you will see the orange card, which is the 30-second warning. When you hit the 2 minute mark, you'll get the pink. And if you hit the 2 minute 1 second mark, Tori's going to call you off the stage. Maybe not quite, but let's keep it close. And again, the other thing, I was so thrilled in talking with each of you prior to this. We just want to remind everybody it's a forum, not a debate. Please try to keep your comments self-focused and promote what great things you'll do when elected to office. So with that, we are going to begin with the Mayoral Forum. Yes, sir.
I thought I heard you said 2 minutes, and I thought I heard Tori say 3 minutes.
For your opening remarks, you get 3. For your comments on the questions, you get 2 minutes. For the mayoral, we will begin with the Mayoral Forum. We are going to invite people to the stage in alphabetical order. So please welcome to the stage our candidates Thomas Burns, Mr. Rusty Hike, and O.E. Buzz Stevens. There are microphones that you can share. You're welcome to answer the questions from your seats with the cordless microphones, or if you prefer to come to the podium, you're welcome to do so. The podium is attached to the floor, so we were not able to bring that to the center of the room, so we want people to have the opportunity to stand in front of everyone. Thank you.
Okay, once again, welcome to everybody. Before the forum began, we had candidates draw numbers out of a box to determine who would go first on the first question. After that, the last candidate to speak on a question will be the first to answer the next question. So, we'll start with Mr. Stevens, I guess, since we're going this way. I don't know what your numbers came up, but since you're sitting this way, we're going to do it this way. Mr. Stevens, why do you want to be elected to the office of mayor?
Well, the microphone. I think I'm loud enough as it is. Being the mayor of Bellevue, I can give you a demonstration here real quick. Who in here knows CPR? CPR, okay. Who in here knows call 911? Okay. Medical alert. I wear one. Look for those. Also in my billfold, I have drugs. Excuse me. I have a card that says drugs in the event EMS, whoever. Your exits over here in the back, I would suggest if you go to the back of this side of the building, this side down here has a long run.
Sir, if you don't use the microphone, you won't be televised, so we're going to have you use the
Oh,
microphone.
you want me to start all over?
No, you can keep going from where you
Okay.
are. They picked up most of it.
All righty. Yeah, I'm kind of loud. Okay, defibrillator. Who knows how to operate a defibrillator? You know where there is one? There's a defibrillator in the hallway back here, okay? My point is this. In the event of an emergency in here, fire, whatever, you understand what you need to do, what we all need to do. And along that reference is synergies. Synergy is where you bring people together, they know what they need to do, and they do it successfully. Oh, sorry. And they do it successfully. Synergy. That's what I offer. The organization of all those components within the city. Now, I did cheat. I came down here last week. I took a little tour, looked around, scouted it all out, so I could stand up here and talk to you about it. So again, leadership. You have to be a leader. And to be a leader, you have to do your research. For me, it was coming in a week early. And that's as far as I need to get. Thank you.
Yeah, I do have a question real quick. Are we doing opening remarks or are we doing the first question first?
For your opening remarks.
Oh, opening remarks?
Yeah,
Perfect.
It's all
So-
part of it. So, Mr. Burns will ask you obviously the same question. Why do you want to be elected to the office of mayor?
Well,
That's the opening remark.
Oh, I put
We
it,
just get to do an opening remark.
okay, all right. I'm totally off balance. I will apologize. Go ahead, do what you need to do.
No, that,
Vote for me.
perfect. Thanks, Buzz. I'd like to give first Michelle Andal a big thank you for hosting this event. I really appreciate you. And I'd also like to thank Tori Pantaleon for moderating the event. I'm Bellevue City Councilman Thomas Burns, and I'm running for mayor. In 2016, I decided to run for council. We were the underdogs then, just as we are now. And people said we wouldn't win. But I worked hard and I talked to the citizens of Ward 1. And come election night, we beat the incumbent president of the Bellevue City Council with 62% of the vote. And for some background, I currently work for Nebraska's 2nd Probation District here in Sarpy County. I'm a graduate of Bellevue East High School, Metropolitan Community College, and the University of Nebraska at Omaha. While on the council, you know, I've fought for sidewalks, I've fought for walkability, you know, I've advocated for a modern library, a new modern library, and I've worked hard to fight against this good old boy system of government that really just benefits the few. And, you know, since last fall, I've knocked on over 1,800 doors. And I've had a lot of conversations with people who have expressed concerns, frustrations, but also their hope for a modern Bellevue. And I'm going to continue to work hard to earn your support.
Rusty, you can give your opening comments now, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Chamber, for putting this on. I was afraid we weren't going to have one. I think it's important for everybody to know what's on everybody's mind. I'm going to tell you how I got here and why I'm here. 1976, when I was in high school, my dad ran for county commissioner. He got that job, and in those 4 years, those 4 short years, he was able to get Platteview Road extended from 84th Street to Highway 75. If you can imagine what it'd be like without having that road connected now, that's a vision. The other big thing he did was get the dam sites started. So the Papio dam sites were not a thing until he went to Washington with his congressional delegation and got that started. Again, a vision that's looking in the future. 2008 came around, and I remember those two things he got done as a teenager. So I thought, well, I'm going to run for county commissioner. I want to get Platteview Road bigger plans. I want that to be a bigger corridor, a safe road to drive. When I first got in, I picked up a project that Senator Hartnett started 20 years before me. That was the Highway 34 bridge. I was able to get the Tiger funding committed to Sarpy County from Governor Heineman. I was able to put Governor Heineman in a box. He had no way out. He had to give us that funding. We were in competition for Western Sarpy County for that money. So I can negotiate those big deals. I was able to help bring the first large data center, I think it was Travelers Insurance, to Sarpy County. You know where that's at now with all the data centers. Werner Park, I was able to keep Werner Park, build Werner Park. I was an advocate to put it in Bellevue, but our own representative voted against that. Kept it in Sarpy County though. Got the law enforcement center done. Advance to the year 2018. During that time, from commissioner of the time, 2018, I started a real estate business, built that business to 5 offices, 30 agents. It was a great economy. During that economy, nothing happened in Bellevue. I got tired of that. So I said, well, I'm going to see what I can do. I'm going to run for Bellevue mayor. Since then, we have totally revamped the city. Brand new administration, new lawyers. I can tell you just by having the new lawyers on board, that saved us hundreds of thousands of dollars. Going through the pandemic, going through the floods, we would have been bankrupt. Our finances were a mess. We are now totally solvent. We are in good shape money-wise. We've annexed 14,000 people into the city. We're now bigger than Council Bluffs. We've got our fire department, police department fully funded, fully staffed. We did not add any new taxes, which the prior administration wanted to add a restaurant tax to pay for fire. All wrong. We did all that. We didn't add any new taxes. We didn't raise any mill levies. And that's why I'm here. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, now we can go back. Thomas, why do you want to run for the office of mayor?
Yeah, thank you, Tori. You know, as I've knocked doors, there's a real common theme that people tell me all the time. And what they say is that we're the 3rd largest city in the state of Nebraska. And sometimes it feels like we're the 3rd largest city in Sarpy County. And a lot of people point to our sister cities, and they point to Papillion a lot. And a lot of people say, you know, a city half our size is the top city to live in nationwide. But then people always express a hope because they know that our city can get there. And what we really need to start doing is modernizing our city and bringing it into the 21st century. You know, the 20th century politics and the good old boy system just isn't going to cut it. And if I'm elected mayor, that stops with me.
Okay, Rusty, your turn. Why do you want to be mayor of Bellevue?
I've shown why I have been mayor. I've talked about it. I want to be mayor to finish the projects that we started, and I want to replace all those projects with new projects. I I don't have any aspirations to be a senator, a U.S. congressman or anything. My love is in Bellevue. I'm a fourth-generation resident from Bellevue. I'm a business person from Bellevue. I pay a ton of property taxes in Bellevue. I have a love for the city. I have a love for its community. I have a love for Offutt. It is just deep in my veins. It's something I can't explain, so I'll call it a calling. And everything I do, whatever I'm doing in that office, is for you and for our city so that we can grow in an organized, good manner. So my job is to set the foundation, and that's why I want to be here. My dad was a masonry man, and he believed if your foundation was not plumb, flush, everything above it wasn't worth anything. And that's why I'm wanting to be mayor.
Okay, for the second question, we'll go in reverse order. So Rusty, you get this one. You get to go first.
Ask us to answer that question. We went down the line, so now we ask him that question.
Oh, okay. I thought, man, I am really I am sorry, folks. I am really, really sorry. I thought I knew what was going on. I guess I don't. All right, Buzz, why do you want to be elected to mayor?
Well, I don't have the exact quote. Thomas Jefferson said that public service is something we're all obligated to do. And when you get in a status to the point where you're comfortable with your life, the direction it's going, and you don't, you're a failure. Now, Condoleezza Rice also said the greatest you can do is public service for your country. So I'm at that point in my life. I'm retired. Financially, I'm secure. Terrific wife, terrific family. One of them, in fact, in the audience. If you want to go back and thump her, she'll tell you, it's that time in my life. I'm ready to give back. And I think as mayor of Bellevue, I can give not just individuals, but the whole, all citizens of this city. And that's one thing I don't hear enough of is Bellevue City. This is a city. This has got some size to it. And we need to remember that. But we also need participation. And I'm sad when I sit here and look out in this audience. We've got to get some participation. And that's what I'm doing. Thank you.
Okay, now we'll move on to question number 2. And since, let's see, we kind of got out of order, but we'll go back to, so we can get back into form. We'll start with Rusty. What are the most important challenges facing the city, and how do you propose to address them?
Our most important challenges are the same challenges I had 4 years ago, and that is our territory. We have very little developable ground in Bellevue. We have to protect that. Our land is eaten up by about 4,000 acres of federal land with the Air Force. We don't collect tax on. We have floodplains we don't collect tax on. We have AQ zones which protect the base. We don't collect tax on. We have large tax-free entities, churches, nonprofits that don't pay taxes. So that land that's left in Bellevue, that is very important to protect and develop in the best way we can possibly develop it, which means bringing jobs. It means bringing more people, and that will reduce our overall tax base and get our taxes down. It's very expensive to run a city when you don't have enough ground to tax. So our mill levy's high, but our per capita expense per person in Bellevue is $1,600 per person. We run a very tight ship on that money. Papillions is $3,200, twice as much as us. They spend twice as much on their citizens that we do because they have the sales tax. Now, that might come to an end someday. I wouldn't say an end, but if you think about it, retail's going by the wayside. We have never counted on retail. The internet sales, We need to make sure we're getting the correct internet sales taxes coming back into Bellevue, because I'm not ashamed to buy on Amazon anymore because I know those taxes come back to Bellevue. Thank you.
All right, Thomas, same question for you.
Yeah, thank you, Tori. I appreciate you. You know, some of the important challenges I think that are facing our city is professional city management. And if I was elected mayor, you know, the first thing that I would do is create a job description and expectations that would be drafted. And I would run that through our city's HR department. And I would advertise that nationally. None of this, you know, I've picked 5 guys and I can't name the 4 other ones, but this one's my guy. You know, that's a very vital role in our city, and I think it's really important. You know, I clearly want to focus on economic development that creates new and better jobs, and also brings a skilled workforce to our city. But I don't really want to make winners or losers out of Old Town Bellevue or the Fort Crook corridor. Really, we need to start taking a holistic approach to our city and actually have a transparent vision. And we need to focus on all parts of Bellevue. I'm going to keep repeating this, but I'm also, I think what's plagued our city is an insider system where we really just do things that benefit a few. And throughout all of this, I maintain my commitment to public safety. So in 2021, we had a budget task force meeting, and in that budget task force meeting, our chief of police had advised the task force that our crime rate has increased by 30%. Not only that, he really put a lot of pressure on the fact that we are getting away from being able to pro-police, and that we were ignoring priority calls like a drunk driver to go handle a domestic violence dispute. He handed out some flyers, and not only that, we were asked to turn them back in for fear of them getting into the public, and that stops with me. So things like that will be put on our city's website, and any information that can be disseminated to the public, I will disseminate. Thank you.
Okay, Buzz, what are your thoughts on those points? What do you feel are the more important challenges for the city, and how do you propose to address them?
Challenges for the city. I've learned, sitting up here tonight, more than I've learned in the last 2 years after I was annexed into Bellevue. And we do have some challenges, I will admit that. To be able to address those right now, I'm at a disadvantage. And again, from what I said at the very beginning, I'm going to have to do some research. There will be a lot of research done on my part. I'm retired. My focus is going to be on the city of Bellevue, nothing else. I have no outside jobs or interests or whatever. The city of Bellevue will be my focus. And we'll get into a lot of these discussion points that the mayor and the councilman have talked about, and I do appreciate what you both have said. It opened my eyes a little bit. So, but anyway, that's as far as I want to get.
Okay, Buzz, we'll start with you with the next question. What is the city's role in economic development along with creating partnerships with other entities?
City's role, again, I'm going to have to default to the mayor and the councilman. I haven't been in the city for 2 years now, but I'm researching it. I'm looking into it. We have to be hand in hand with the development of industries. And I don't mean a little coffee shop in the middle of nowhere. I don't mean a 5 and dime that's only going to be there for as long as the lease says, for 3 years, 4 years. You need longevity. You need to say, we're here for the long haul. And if it makes people upset, well, okay, you're going to upset people. This isn't a popularity contest. It's a working contest to make sure the city of Bellevue stays. That's as far as I'm going to get.
Thomas, what are your thoughts on the city's role in economic development along with creating partnerships with other entities?
Yeah. So I think the first part of that is to be welcoming, inviting. You know, the most important role the mayor plays is advocating for the city, creating partnerships, and also building coalitions. You know, the city is a creature of county government, and the county government's a creature of state government. And it's imperative that we really work together, and it's imperative that we work closely with the chamber. I really just want to give an example of this. You know, we, in 2019, we had a chance to work collaboratively with the county on a crisis intervention center here in Bellevue, and it was going to be located off 25th and 370, you know, and it, put that anywhere. But really, we had a chance to work with the county, and not only that, we had a chance to bring a skilled workforce to Bellevue. That was land that had been sitting vacant since 2008. We got told it was prime real estate. It's still sitting vacant. But what did we do? We lost out on an opportunity, right? The second thing is our library, right? We just paid $4 million. We bonded out $4 million to go from 1975 to 1975. And we were on course for a brand new modern library. And if we can't invest in our community, why should we expect anybody else to invest in our community? And that's the last point is, you know, we have to have community buy-in. We can't just keep doing things, right? We have to have that community buy-in. We have to have community engagement, and we have to let people know what's going on. Otherwise, what's the point?
Rusty, your thoughts on the city's role in economic development and along with creating partnerships with outside entities?
Yeah, if the city's not going to do economic development, then you might as well wrap it up, and that's been our problem for years. We are working on economic development right now. We have over 1,000 acres contracted in our industrial subdivisions down south of the base. We're bringing in large employers. We are huge into advocating for our city and why those businesses should be here. If you remember, a couple years ago, we put a consortium together, raised $104 million of public-private investment to bring U.S. Spacecom here. So we're working with UNL, we're working with the philanthropists in Omaha, we're working with the state government, the city, the county. We all worked very well together, and that was one of the best run consortiums I've ever seen, and I've heard it's the best that some of these great people have been a part of. So we do have the partnerships, and it's very important to partner with those people and to be on their side when they need you. We always want business to come to Bellevue, but if I don't get something in Bellevue, I want Papillion to get it, or I want Springfield to get it. I want to stay in Sarpy County next. The mental facility that Mr. Burns was referring to, that again, it goes back to us protecting our important pieces of ground. That was a tax-exempt facility. We tried to work with them to make it a taxable facility. It was not possible. That was my only issue with that. And for that ground to be sitting there, there's a contract working on it right now as we speak. So we'll get those taxes. So sometimes you just have to wait just a little bit, have a little patience. It's very important. It's important to partnership with the chamber. I've been working on relationships my whole life. I've been on the Office Advisory Council for 28 years. I've been with MAPPA. I've been with NACO. So I've been to a lot of different committees. So it's vital. Thank you.
Okay, Rusty, we'll start with you again for the next question. What do you think is the most important skill or ability as a leader that you will bring to the office of mayor?
I think the most important skill or ability is the ability to lead. It's putting a team together. That's exactly what I've done. Councilman Burns just unloaded on my bad administration, which I take a lot of offense to. We've got a lot of stuff done for Bellevue. We pulled us out of the trenches. I assembled a very good team in Bellevue. And everything that has happened, it's not just me, it's that team. It's the people working for us. You need to be proud of what we have done. And I wish I had a lot of time to go into all the things that we've accomplished over the last 4 years. Actually, you'll see that the annual report's coming out, and a lot of it will be in there. You'll all get a copy of that. But being able to put a team, and communication is huge. We opened up our communications with the council. That made a huge difference. There's no bickering, there's no fighting at the council meetings anymore. So the communication was huge. And, you know, I'm going to say that's it. It's people. We're people, it's people. Put the right people in the right places. Thank you.
Thomas, what's the most important skill or ability as a leader that you'll bring to the mayor's office?
Yeah, I think the most important skill is humility. And, you know, I'm really grateful to the people who elected me to council. I also want to work hard to make sure that I'm honoring the trust they placed in me. And the bottom line is I really want to remain humble, respectful of the people we serve, and I want to be committed to serving them with integrity.
Okay, Buzz, your turn. What are you going to bring as a leader to the office of the mayor?
Well, 34 years railroading. I was high in the director of locomotives here for Union Pacific. Here we go again. Gee, anyway, 34 years railroading. Ended up director locomotives for Union Pacific Railroad. 6,500 units at any given time I was responsible for, or shared responsibility. With that, I had different locations throughout the United States, throughout our territory. Same thing I did in the Marine Corps. I had to be a leader. Didn't have to be, but I was, because that is what my job is. That's what it entails. I've heard a lot about committees through the years, be it the military, be it the civilian sector. But then again, I've also heard a lot of, well, we failed. Excuse me. The committee failed. Still, excuse me, what do you mean? I'm one, I will take the lead. I will be responsible when whatever happens. I will be responsible as mayor of Bellevue. That's my responsibility. The others, they can give ideas, they can give thoughts, they can coordinate committees, they can do whatever. But what was it Harry Truman had on his desk? The buck stops here. Well, it'll be the same for me. Thank you.
Okay, the final question. Buzz, we'll start with you. If you were able to accomplish just one thing in your elected term, what would you want it to be and why?
I don't want a park named after me. I don't want a pool named after me. I don't want anything named after me. I want, if possible, pick someone at random, a city individual that has made the difference. I'm being hired when you vote for me. I'm not being thrust into it and so forth. And my legacy is whatever the city is. My legacy will be Bellevue City, not Bellevue Hamlet, not Bellevue Township, Bellevue City. A lot of people don't realize how much these two have grown this city. Population alone, I think we're up to what, 54, 55,000?
64,000.
Yeah, that's a hell of a chunk. Myself, I was annexed 2 years ago. And yeah, I kind of bulled up a little bit on it. But overall, I think it's probably for the best. Beats the heck out of being Platte City. So again, my legacy is going to be Bellevue City, not me. Thank you.
Okay, Thomas, if you could accomplish one thing during your elected term, well, what would that be and why?
Yeah, thanks, Tori. So a city's greatest asset is its people, and their greatest asset is where they live. And so no matter what neighborhood you live in, you should be proud of where you live. That means your neighborhood parks, walkability, and safety all come first with your mayor. So my overarching goal is a universal pride in our neighborhoods, and that's north, east, south, and west.
Okay, Rusty, you get the final word on this one.
Frankly, if I could only get one thing done in 4 years, I would be embarrassed. And the last 4 years tells you what I mean. We have made great strides. You've got 36th Street being widened, police and fire fully funded, the finances straightened out, over 1,000 acres of industrial ground sold south of the base, working on 2 major employment projects. So that one thing would be to finish all those projects that we were able to get started in the first 4 years. But Bellevue's future economic engine is Highway 34 corridor and Highway 75 interchange as well. You're going to see huge announcements in that area shortly. And that is where my focus is going to be on, because that's what Bellevue is going to ride into the future. And if we don't protect that, if we don't do it right, and we don't protect all of our pieces of ground, you're going to have a bedroom community, no jobs, no industry, and high taxes. That's where your high taxes come from. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to give each of you a chance to make a closing statement, and keeping with our format, since we're going back this way, Rusty, you get to go first.
I have thoroughly enjoyed being the mayor of Bellevue and representing the fine people of Bellevue. I think we've done amazing things. I think we have a lot more amazing things to get done, and we are going to get those done. I just want to let you know, if you put me in another 4 years, I'll work just as hard as I did the last 4 years, and I will continue to be your mayor as long as the people of Bellevue want me here and God is willing. So thank you for the last 4 years, and I'd love to have your support and your vote this next 4 years. Thank you.
Thomas, your final thoughts.
Thank you, Tori. You know, a lot of interesting things have come to mind when we were just having this forum. But you know, if you really take a look around, we still are a bedroom community. We all pay high taxes. And the truth is property taxes have increased for the individual homeowner. By holding the line and, you know, selling the whole half-truth of property values going up, but we didn't raise the mill levy, right? That's a half-truth. By doing nothing, we raise property taxes. You know, we talk about big projects, and something's always coming soon. But what is it? And it's not transparent, and nobody knows. Does anybody know what the vision of our city is? Because I don't, and I serve on the council. And quite frankly, I'm tired of not being able to answer people's questions because, you know, what's going on here, or what's going on here, or the next thing you know, someone drops a bomb, and then we find out, you know, we're buying a new library, right? That didn't even make it on the original feasibility study that had 18 site locations. And the truth is with all the annexations, all we've done is annexed a bunch of residential properties. That's it. At some point, the city services have already increased, and they're going to continue to increase. Annexing residential alone isn't sustainable growth. It should be measured. Everything should be measured that we do, and there should be a long-term goal involved. And I'm asking for your vote and your support, and I appreciate all of those who came here tonight. And again, I appreciate you, Michelle, and I appreciate you, Tori, and Buzz. I really appreciate you being here. Same with you, Rusty.
Okay, Buzz, you get the final thoughts.
Well, for starters, I forgot something at the very beginning. The seat cushions are not flotation devices. So, but anyway, getting a little levity is what I'm looking for here. I apologize. We get too serious about ourselves, but we have to be serious about our city, where we live. We got to be serious about it. And the biggest thing that we need, possibly, transparency. Someone needs to tell us every once in a while what the heck is going on. I know we have websites. I know we have letters that go out and city editorials and so forth. But we need transparency by inviting people to what we're doing. As mayor, I'll go over here to the school bus and get me a bus and go around and knock on doors and say, hey, why don't you come on down? It'll take you a couple hours of your life. You might learn something. So transparency. This is your city. When the groundhogs start delivering my mail to me, I don't know if it'll be here or some place out west as a veteran and so forth, but it'll go on. But let's make it go on good. Let's make it with participation and transparency. Thank you.
We want to thank you all for coming tonight and participating in the forum. We will have a break after the city council part of the forum, which is next. We'll have a 10-minute break, and if anybody from the audience would like to ask questions of any of the candidates that'll be here tonight, there are cards in the back, and at the end of the evening, if time permits, as was discussed and put out when we introduced the forum, we will take some of those questions and put them to our candidates. So thank you very much, and now we will be ready to bring up our city council candidates.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Just leave it on your chair. Yeah, no mic drop. Thank you. We will now hear from our city council candidates. Please welcome to the stage in alphabetical order, Kathy Welch and Bruce Yoder. You're all good. Good evening. Thank you for
I'm
being
Kathy.
here.
So you know,
You're what?
I'm Kathy. Not to get me confused with Bruce.
Thank you for clearing that up for us. Yeah, can you do that one quick?
Okay, as we move into the city council portion of the forum, just a reminder that before this forum began, we had candidates draw numbers out of a box to determine who would go first on the first question. And after that, the last candidate to speak on a question will be the first to answer the next question. So it's like a serpentine format. First, we'll allow each candidate to give some opening remarks. Kathy?
Thank you. So proud and honored to be here. Thank you, Michelle, the Bellevue Chamber of Commerce, and Tori for this opportunity. My ward in Bellevue is the ward that I grew up in. Harrison to Cornhusker, 25th Street to the Missouri River, and I am running for my second term in this great ward. In our city of a weak mayor system, our city currently has anything but a weak mayor. Mayor Hike has the vision with input from our voters. City Administrator Jim Risto works to make the vision possible. And we, the Bellevue City Council, if we agree, legislate it and fund it. During my first term as councilwoman for the 4th Ward, we fully funded our police and fire departments without raising our tax levy or creating additional sales tax structures. Got our public works department up to speed and brought back the pride to the city of Bellevue that I remember when I was growing up and attending Bellevue High School. Our number one priority is to prioritize our resources. Public safety was number one for this administration. Initially, it was getting our fire department provided with what was needed, getting our police department fully staffed, and then getting our public works up to speed to keep our infrastructure solid. So when we came on, we were kicking a lot of cans down the road for 20 years. So we then had to pick and choose the projects. Do we want American Heroes Park first or the Fort Crook Corridor? One of our biggest challenges we have is operating within our resources and not adding new taxes. The previous administration wanted to increase our sales tax and add a restaurant tax just to pay for the fire department. They wanted to put a $40 million library, and yet we were short 30 police officers. We had aging roads, equipment that we couldn't even maintain. These public safety and public works projects are necessary, just like if a house has foundation problems, it needs to be shored up before you can start doing the fun and pretty stuff. Everyone wants to see things done overnight, and unfortunately, it just takes time. We have tried to remove obstacles to get things in play, and the next 4 years is to get things rolling in the right direction. Ward 4, like the other wards, has its uniqueness, like the Fort Crook corridor, which is important to all of us. There was a study done in 2008, and it was agreed to and then put on the shelf. Once this administration had the city shored up, then it was time to start looking at these projects. Since this study is 14 years old, it needed to be revisited and updated. We're currently working on an update of the study so that we can start the implementation of this project. It's an exciting time. Our city employees are happy because we have a department heads that have a leader who gives them a vision and direction, not running by the seat of our pants or changing the plan and direction every week. I'm happy to announce that union contracts have been successfully negotiated. It's a great time to be living in Bellevue.
Bruce, your opening statement, please.
Hi. Thanks, everyone, for being here tonight. Not a big group, but still a group. And thanks for taking the time to be out here tonight. My name is Bruce Yoder, and I'm running for City Council Ward 4, same ward as Kathy here. I was an Omaha South High grad, hard to believe 20 years ago now. Went to UNO and then UNL for my Master's of Architecture. And as we moved back to Omaha to try to find our place to live and find a home, we found a foreclosure over on Bellevue Boulevard. So when we moved here in 2009, I had seen that Bellevue had just completed the master plan study in 2008, and that was part of my conversation with my wife. Like, Bellevue has it going on. We are going to move here. Fort Crook Road is going to be completely revamped. You know, my wife and I went to South Roads if you are from Bellevue, obviously, you know what South Roads Mall actually was. But now here we stand 14 years later. I've got 2 daughters now. We didn't have kids when we moved here. They're both at Avery Elementary. And the only improvements on Fort Crook, other than getting a grant to stripe bike lanes and then a violent effort to remove the bike lanes, which were not very safe. Sorry, lost my train of thought here. The only things that have happened have been the bike lanes, their removal, as well as securing the concrete plant, cleaning it up, and then selling it to a developer with no time constraints on it. So now we've still got the concrete plant sitting there empty aside from the stretch across the railroad tracks. So I was the squeaky wheel, presenting my frustrations and thoughts to previous mayors, previous city council members. Am I good on time still? Okay, perfect. And I decided to stop complaining a couple years ago and run for city council myself. I did want to note, as an architect, life, safety, and welfare is a primary responsibility of ours. So if elected, I did want to add, I will continue to keep police and fire funded, roads, snow plows, all of that really is critical to the city of Bellevue. But I have seen firsthand as an architect how a single project can act as a catalyst for an area. As a city, it feels like we're waiting for others to come in and fix things for us. It's good to hear there could be some things in the works. But we can't keep waiting for others. We as a city need to do work in areas where we can by making the public improvements first that show businesses and developers that we're committed to improving our city and we're not just waiting for them to come fix it for us. Thank you.
Okay, staying with the serpentine format, Bruce, you get to answer first. The first question, why do you want to be elected to Bellevue City Council?
All right. Good thing I brought my notes with me here. Keep it short on this. Just help Bellevue become a better community that surrounding areas want to achieve to be and that residents and businesses want to move to. Currently, we can say whatever we want, but we are losing out to neighboring communities like La Vista, Papillion, and Gretna, both in potential residents as well as businesses. I mean, just look at Shadow Lake. Well, I should add Council Bluffs to that with Metro Crossing. We're just not getting those businesses. Yeah, we've got Target, Walmart, I think the oldest Walmart or the second oldest Walmart in the entire metro area. But we've lost PayPal, TD Ameritrade, we lost Werner Park, Toyota. And then you see things like the Gretna Sports and Water Park complex that they're building, Papillion Landing, and La Vista City Center on 84th Street. And I just want to be a part of changing that current trajectory that we're on.
Kathy, why do you want to be elected?
Thank you. You know, a lot of groundwork needed to be done in our first term to get the city turned around from the previous administration. Our previous administration was betting on a song and a prayer, hoping to fund projects without having the money in place. It's an example of buying a house hoping that you'll win the lottery. This administration runs the city like a business because it is a large corporation. One of our great employees stated that we have gotten more done in 3 years than the other administrations have in 25 years. This administration is working together, so cohesive and organized, and just starting to get things done. We respect each other's opinions and are able to navigate even through the most choppy waters. There's a lot of wheels in motion, and it's going to take the next 4 years to finalize and finish what we just got started. There are so many good things coming down the pipe that everyone has been part of accomplishing. So I'm asking the voters to allow us to finish. The last thing we want to do is to set the expectations to the voters and not get anything accomplished. That is what has gone on in the city for years, and we're not going to do that to you. It's based on communication. Communication from the mayor to the city administrator, from the city administrator to the city council. Once items are approved, it's back to the city administrator to communicate it to the department heads, and the department heads to communicate it to the employees. Just like any good relationship, it's about good communication. That was definitely not happening prior to this administration. It's my job to communicate with my voters, like answering their emails and phone calls. I can't tell you how many times I have been called by a constituent and they were shocked when I returned their call. So I'm asking for your vote so that I can continue to respond to your emails and phone calls because your input is essential in the success of our city.
Okay, Kathy, you get to answer the next one first. What do you believe is the city's role in economic development along with creating partnerships with other entities?
Thank you, Tori. The city's role is naturally to ensure that the door is open for business. When I say that, it's through zoning and permitting and approachable city employees. Having a long-term master plan of where our growth is gone, identify where our commercial, industrial, and residential growth is going to go, and sticking to that plan. That is accomplished by working with developers to maintain that plan and not making exceptions to the plan. That was not the case in the past, and we now have a plan for where everything fits. Those potential projects could be working with developers, the Bellevue Chamber, Grow Sarpy, etc., and ensuring that we work hand in hand to ensure that they know what we are looking for. We don't want a business or developer to come to our city with all of their hard work done just to let them know we don't have a place for them.
Bruce, your turn on that question.
So on economic development, and actually I was one of the people that was calling back and forth with Kathy, so thank you for returning my call. I believe we need to create focus districts, including streetscape improvement projects throughout the city. Again, we need to put our foot forward if we're going to expect other people to invest money into our own community. I know I was one of the voters that helped pass the LB 840 for the Highway 34 corridor, and I do agree that is a critical project to the future of Bellevue, and even though we're losing to our competitors, it is a critical project for Sarpy County as well in its long-term goals. But we also need to remember Old Town and Fort Crook Road and create districts and design standards. You know, one of the biggest complaints I heard 2 years ago when I campaigned was just hearing things like, oh, we're just going to get tiny boxes and it'll have no Bellevue feeling to it. So trying to create those design standards that the city agrees to, that, you know, you come to Bellevue and you know you're in Bellevue. Creating high-quality city-based amenities, walking paths, walkable community trails, water park. I did hear there's potentially discussion of a water park coming down the pipe, which would be amazing, although my kids will be too old by the time it's built, as well as a library, and with the latest news of the library, ideally a smaller library for the other part of Bellevue that is a little bit further away from the library. Building things like a community center and potentially teaming up with a not-for-profit for a children's museum. Just projects that we can do as a city that will act as catalysts and investments. We also need to make sure we continue to work with Offutt, the NRD, Sarpy County, MAPPA on those joint vision projects to improve our city and our community. Do have a note, 36th Street with its widening, it will be a potential future corridor as well.
Okay, Bruce, you get to answer this next question first. What are the most important challenges facing our city, and how do you plan to address them?
All right, well, I am a little bit of a broken record, but again, losing current and potential future residents to neighboring communities. I'll have conversations with coworkers that are moving to Sarpy County, and I will do everything I can to encourage them to move to Bellevue, and for good reason, as we all know. Why? Why would you move to Bellevue? What has Bellevue done recently? What project has happened that excites you about the city of Bellevue? And then they've all moved to Papillion. Right now, we are not the leaders in Sarpy County. We need to act on the civic projects to attract those businesses and residents. We need to help create affordable housing and multifamily projects, ideally mixed-use developments. I believe for the Lockwood old concrete plant site, their initial plan that they put on their website maybe a decade ago or whenever that was sold, it was all kind of just single-story, kind of the cheapest buildings that you could build. Ideally, that gets built into a multi-story development down there. Let's see. But we also need to have that retail, office, and housing together. An example, and I worked with a developer on the first building that went up at La Vista City Center, and that has been a huge catalyst for their area. Although it has had some slow progress, it's still a lot more than we've seen in other areas of Bellevue. Also, improving our existing neglected areas in the city and creating the walkable communities that I noted before. Galvin Road between Harvell and 370 is a great example, although it needs a lot of work. It's got deteriorating sidewalks and really needs some help there. But this is especially critical to create these paths with the massive fluctuation in cost of living since 2008.
Kathy, what do you feel are the most challenging things for our city, and how do you plan to address them?
Thank you. The landscape is changing. We need to ensure that we set aside for commercial and retail development and staying fluid enough with the times. Big malls, outdoor malls don't work anymore. So what are the things that work? It's getting the message out so developers know that we are open for business and working together to put the best product in the right place. Make it a win-win for everyone. The other side is job retention. We want people that live in our city be able to work in our city and then play in our city. So when we say play, does that mean an aquatic park? Does it mean an entertainment sector? The one thing that this administration has done more than any other administration is actually asking the people of Bellevue, what do you want? What do you think? Like the sidewalk task force that I headed. One of my colleagues wanted to create an ordinance requiring sidewalks at every home in Bellevue. Great idea, but is it what the residents wanted? I chaired a task force asking the important questions to our Northwest Bellevue residents. We mailed out 1,444 surveys, and I was overwhelmed with the response. 38% of the residents mailed the survey back, and over 80% stated they were not interested in a sidewalk in front of their home. Question asked, answer received, people spoke. No government overreach.
All right, Kathy, you can answer this next question that we have. If you were able to accomplish just one thing during your elected term, what would that be and why?
In this position, accomplishing one thing is grossly underestimating what we can accomplish. We have so many projects going on that affect all citizens of the city of Bellevue, as well as the Ward 4 residents. I led the project proudly for Light Up Bellevue. This wonderful Christmas festivity helped bring people to downtown Bellevue, as well as opportunities to Ward 4. So it's not just narrowly focused on Ward 4. Projects like Fort Crook Development, getting the library done, getting more housing starts to the south, Heroes Park. So it's not just one thing. It's a multiple of things that it's going to take all of us to row the boat to get it done. My city isn't just Ward 4. I am responsible for those voters, but my city is the entire city.
Bruce?
Thank you. Again, just like everyone else has said, obviously picking just one thing, really not feasible, and hopefully we can do a lot more than that. But if I had to pick one thing, it would be to create a clear, concise roadmap, plan, cost, and funding mechanisms for Fort Crook's redevelopment. It connects the city of Bellevue to Plattsmouth. It connects the city of Bellevue to Omaha. It connects to 75, I-80. Just letting that kind of go to the wayside like it has for the last 20 years plus is not an option for the city. And if that is the direction of the city, then obviously it's just not going to last very long and people will start to move out. I did want to reference, along with that thing, we took a trip as a family to Oklahoma City. They did an amazing canal project that transformed their entire downtown area. Obviously, tax base, Oklahoma City, much bigger. But with that project, that was done in 2000. And it took them 20 years to create this canal project, this vibrant community and area. And it was amazing to see because I had been to Oklahoma City back in the 90s, and it was kind of a tragedy in that same area. So if I were to pick one thing, it would be to figure out how to redevelop Fort Crook Road from the river all the way to Omaha through Bellevue.
Okay, final question. Bruce, you get to start. What's the most valuable skill or ability that you'll bring to the city council?
We're skipping one. All right. As an architect, I work with a variety of clients. I worked with churches, developers, cities, and schools to create projects that are those catalysts. With that said, I'm able to work with others, understand their needs, point of view, help everyone categorize, okay, what is the most important? What's the next most important? And what do we want but really don't need? And just creating those subsets so that people understand from their own point of view how we can move forward. So, yeah, just working with those different groups and helping to create those design standards for our community to create a true vision and sense of place for the city of Bellevue.
Kathy?
Thank you, Tori. My valuable skill or ability is I am boldly curious. Those of you that know me, that means that I ask a lot of questions without having my mind made up before the presentation starts. It's about being able to take it all in, both sides, and then prioritizing and then decision making. I'm not going to appease all of my constituents. It has to be done on a larger scale and also from a city perspective. I feel like I have the ability to listen to what people have to say, respecting divergent opinions, and then formulating a decision out there. As I mentioned before regarding the sidewalk task force, we listened. Had we passed this ordinance, it would have been a mess. I was told by my colleague that sidewalks were a must. Millions of dollars would have been unnecessarily spent. So we, the Sidewalk Task Force Committee, listened to our taxpayers, but it's taking the time to gather the information and make the right decision. I also ask a lot of questions at our public city council meeting, especially to developers building residential homes. I want to make sure the right developer with the right product comes into our city because this affects all of us, not just Ward 4. I do my best not to come into meetings with a preformed opinion. Curiosity is the ability to learn and listen, and learn some more.
Okay, now we have time for the closing statements, and we'll start with Kathy.
Thank you. Our city for the last 10 years was only in the news regarding chickens and other negative attention. We were considered the misfits to the other communities because of our negative press. In the last 3 years, we've become the city that other cities want to follow. We have survived massive snowstorms, historical flooding, and the infamous COVID-19. And yet, we didn't close our doors. We didn't shut down. We still navigated and managed the city. The city's been working on a balanced budget without any tax increases, while communities around us have had to increase their sales tax to pay for things. We have not done that. So we solved our fiscal demise not just through annexation, but through our ability to do things different, be flexible with our bondings, and fully funding our public safety. We increased our police department from 82 to 105 police officers in 1 year. In the words of our police chief, this is Herculean. We have fully funded our fire department and provided safe and efficient equipment. We have put long-term plans to keep our city from getting into that position again. There are the projects and situations that I'm proud to have been part of and would ask for your vote to continue this great momentum that we have all created. You know, I recently decided to participate in a sprint triathlon in August of this year, swimming 750 meters, biking 13 miles, and running a 5K, all in one morning. So when you see me, please ask me how my training is going. My trainer loves the fact that I can say I'm running a 5K, and I'm also running for Bellevue City Council Ward 4. I would appreciate your vote for 4 more years. Thank you so much for your time.
Bruce, you get the final word?
Keep it short and sweet. Ultimately, I want the city of Bellevue to be great. I don't want our city to become stagnant and outdated, which would ultimately lead to a decline, loss of business, which we've already seen. If you've driven down Fort Crook, you can easily see some of the requests I've made to previous city councils to, for instance, maybe put a limit on the east side of Fort Crook Road on used car dealerships. Every business that closes, you get a used car dealership. Anyone's familiar with L Street? You've seen how that played out and how that's still working out to this day. I'd like to work as a community and make a plan that's realistic and feasible. And if there was a cost to Fort Crook Road, it should be brought to the voters and let the city decide. And I think I had some notes from a previous question here that I did not get to, but similarly to LB 840 for the Platteview corridor, there hasn't been a lot of visible money spent that we've seen as a community. So my only concern when we go to pass the next bill to help fund a great project is that the taxpayers won't vote for it because they don't believe that any progress is going to happen. And that's just a concern as a resident of Ward 4. Other than that, hope you vote for me in November, and probably see you at Baker's, Menards, all those places. Thank you.
We want to thank both of you for being here tonight and coming to share your story and your comments. We are going to take a 10-minute, 12-minute break and re-adjourn at 7:20. And again, you are free to go. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We will take, like I said, we'll come back, we'll re-adjourn at 7:20. During the break, if there's anybody who would like to ask a question of any of the candidates that have either spoken already or will be spoken, there are cards at the back of the room that you can fill out, and Patty Wesleyan will collect those and bring those to us. And then time permitting, at the end of the forum, we will ask some of those questions. Thank you.
Welcome again. Welcome back to the forum. Again, I'm Michelle. I am the president and CEO of the Bellevue Chamber of Commerce. And this is Tom Deal. He is our sitting chairman. So I've had the privilege this year of working with him. And we are here to talk to you about something that we are supporting that will help economic development within our city.
Again, I am Tom. I'm a retired Air Force colonel. I'm the owner of the Bellevue Chick-fil-A and also the chairman this year. Michelle and I are here tonight to talk to you about an initiative that will be on the May 10th ballot for everyone that lives in the Bellevue city limits. If you were annexed last year, you are now part of the city and can vote on that city issue.
On May 10th, on the primary election ballot, the city of Bellevue has placed an initiative on the ballot called Proposition Number 1, asking voters to approve the continuation of the economic development plan first approved by voters in the 2014 general election.
The economic development plan approved by the voters in the November 2014 election made it possible for the city to set aside a portion of already existing incoming sales tax to be used specifically for the purpose of development of new jobs, attracting a variety of new businesses, broadening the tax base, generating employment opportunities, attracting new capital investments, expanding the labor market and retention of existing jobs for the citizens of Bellevue by promoting development with the Highway 34 Corridor District. The funds collected or set aside each year averaged about $750,000 per fiscal year.
The approval of the Economic Development Plan in 2014 and the funds collected over the past 5 years made it possible for the city to recently purchase land along the Highway 34 corridor, which will pave the way for the development of multiple new projects that have the potential to bring hundreds of new jobs to Bellevue.
If voters approve Proposition 1 on May 10th ballot, they will give the city of Bellevue the ability to continue with this successful economic development plan, paving the way for more new growth and economic development in our city. With new economic development comes new tax revenues, and those tax revenues can be used for improvements and enhancements around the community, including new and improved parks, upgrades in local amenities and city services, and an overall strengthening of the city's financial foundation.
The biggest thing to remember is that voting for Proposition number 1 does not add any new taxes to the citizens of Bellevue. It simply allows the city to continue to use a portion of taxes that are already in place to grow and improve our city. The Bellevue Chamber of Commerce supports Proposition number 1 and encourages the voters of Bellevue to do the same. This is in support of the economic development growth that this proposition brings to our city.
So let's keep a good thing going for our city of Bellevue, and we ask you that you vote yes on Proposition number 1. Thank you.
And we will continue on. We will now continue with the forum. We would like to bring up the candidates for Clerk of the District Court. And we would like you to welcome in alphabetical order Dory Heath and Matthew Lawrence.
Once again, we'll go over the process. Before the forum began, we had candidates draw numbers out of a box to determine who would go first on the first question. And as in the past, after that, the last candidate to speak on a question will be the first to answer the next question. Before we get started, though, we'll allow each candidate to give opening remarks. Dory, you go first, please.
Hi, I'm Dory Heath. I am the incumbent Clerk of the District Court of Sarpy County. I am serving my 6th term as a District Court Clerk, and this will be my 2nd term as the Sarpy County District Court Clerk. I'd like to thank the Chamber for putting this on, and also to Bellevue University. I have dedicated my entire adult life to public service. I have worked in the court system for 39 years. I was influenced at an early age by my grandmother, who was a former educator and became very involved in local and state and national public service organizations. I was born in Kansas. Please don't hold that against me. I was actually raised in Richland from a baby on, graduated from Nebraska Wesleyan University with my BS in psychology. I did a 1-year internship at the Lincoln Regional Center Maximum Security Unit, which piqued my interest in working in the court system. My career actually began with 3 years in county court. I then served 16 years as a child support enforcement officer, paralegal, and that fine-tuned my skills working with the less fortunate. Child support gave me the ability to network with professionals across the United States and with numerous district court judges and attorneys in Nebraska. I also served as an interim supervisor for Lincoln Local Child Support Office for 1 year during that time. An opportunity then arose to start 2 grassroots coalitions in, Platte and Colfax counties, and this was the result of the master settlement lawsuit arising from the suit against the tobacco companies. I created 2 core groups to fight against underage tobacco usage, recruited volunteers who were active in their communities, and I am pleased to let you know that both programs continued to exist for the last 21 years. When the clerk of the district court retired in Colfax County, I decided to run, thinking that was the natural progression to use my skill sets acquired during the course of my career. During Colfax County District Court years, which were 4 terms, I reorganized the vault. I was one of the first district courts in the state to scan to the state system. I served on various county and state committees, legislative retention and education committees for the Nebraska Judicial Branch. In 2016, I completed my MS in negotiation and dispute resolution from Creighton University. The program gave me a great perspective in leadership and supervisory roles, which allows one to see others' perspective, understands biases, and creates a framework for dialogue. As a district court clerk for 5 terms, okay, thank you.
Matt, your opening remarks, please.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having me. I'm Matt Lawrence, a Libertarian running for Clerk of the District Court. What value does a Libertarian bring to his neighbors in Sarpy County? I bring a renewed seriousness in returning to principles that are being withered away or watered down. Many will know the name Warren Buffett, but only some will know his father, Nebraska Congressman Howard Buffett. Congressman Buffett held the principles of non-interventionist foreign policy and sound money, much like Ron Paul. Buffett was also the Nebraska campaign manager for Robert Taft in the primary against Eisenhower because he predicted that Ike would lead to the destruction of the Republican Party. I will take the liberty and say that most here can see Buffett's point and understand why the Libertarian Party picked up those values and principles the GOP exchanged for a national security state and foreign adventurism. The Libertarian Party, in doing so, led to Buffett's friend, economist, and libertarian philosopher Murray Rothbard to be involved. I'm here to pick up and carry on the lost Nebraska values held by Buffett and expanded upon by Rothbard. Being elected as a Libertarian, I will use the platform of the office to inform my Sarpy neighbors that we don't have to live with inflation. We can use nullification to remove taxes on the purchasing of gold and silver. Go even further and say we want to be able to choose which currency we use and let the market compete for our business. I want to get my neighbors to think about property rights if they actually exist, and if they do so, do they own their own homes? The answer being a resounding and no-nonsense yes, then why do they let their local government violate their property rights and tell them that the tax value of their homes is anything above 0? As clerk of the district court, I will continue my public service that I started when in active duty Air Force and the Nebraska Air National Guard. I will take every opportunity to promote jury nullification, enforcing the right to speedy trials, and protecting the infinite number of rights not specifically listed in the Constitution. I will take my turn as one of the leaders in internal vigilance, keeping the spirit of divisional labor. If you will have me, I am asking to be one of your defenders against an overreaching government. I look forward to answering tonight's questions and then meeting you to listen to your concerns. I'm volunteering my time to prove that Libertarians represent the interests of limited government and unhampered markets. Thank you.
Okay, we'll start with the questions. We'll go back to Dory. Why do you want to be elected as clerk of the district court?
As the incumbent running for my 2nd term in Sarpy County District Court, I can ensure the Sarpy County residents to the best and the most qualified person for this position. There are more improvements I want to implement, which will feed off the momentum created by the improvements my team and I have made over the last 3.5 years. I understand the needs in district court in both the present and the future. We will continue to support the district court judges, juvenile judges, the county court judges, their staff, and the bailiffs with the Nebraska Supreme Court mandated modernization rules. I will help implement the modification of the mental health system and the mental health board. And I will also continue the cross-training of the entire district court staff and continue to revise and streamline our office processes. Thank you.
Matt, you should please share with us why you want to be elected as clerk of the district court.
I want to serve as the clerk of the district court as an elected peer of the judges, attorneys, and sheriff to promote a climate of upholding the oaths to the Constitution, ensuring that we are not imposing upon our neighbors through mandates, inflation, or unlawful taxation.
All right, Matt, you get to answer the second question
right.
first. What are the most important challenges currently facing the clerk of the district court?
The public's faith in our institutions is faltering. This office should be leading the charge in ignoring all mandates, regulations, and laws that have no victim, showing their fellow neighbors that their local government wants to be unlike DC and give them the benefit of not being harassed.
Dory?
Okay. Sarpy is the fastest growing county in Nebraska. We all know that. The more people, the more cases. We have to be prepared and have a plan to handle the increases in every area of the district court. The completion of the cross-training of my staff is my first priority in being prepared. The Nebraska Supreme Court mandated modernization rules will now be allowing in the near future self-represented litigants to e-file their own pleadings, motions, proposed orders, protection order petitions, and other filings. Our job as district court employees is to guide but not give legal advice. These e-filings will make that much more difficult. Another challenge is to attract and retain the most qualified, educated, and knowledgeable staff. We are now competing, and I say Sarpy County, with the tech companies in Sarpy, Meta, Facebook, Google, PayPal, to name a few. As a county, we will need to offer a competitive salary to attract and retain great employees.
All right, the next question we'll give it to Dory first. What experience do you have that makes you the best candidate for this position?
Aside from the fact that I have been elected to the position of the district court clerk in 2 different counties 5 times since 2002, I have the education, the knowledge, the leadership skills, and the respect of the district court, county court, juvenile judges, their staff, and my staff to get the job done.
Matt, what your experience makes you the best candidate?
Serving in the Air Force as law enforcement, I did my share of reports and paperwork, preparing them to be potentially challenged in court. Precision and accountability was practiced often to provide proper due process. While working in the trades and performing foreman duties, I would ensure accuracy in my paperwork. If confined space permits or job hazard analysis paperwork had errors, then not only would it be unsafe for my coworkers, but it would run into costly work stoppages. The county needs someone entrusted with keeping its court's records that has the taxpayers and Constitution always in mind. Thank you.
All right, Matt, you get to answer the next question first. Now, the clerk of the district court oversees a large staff and requires training and mentoring those staff members to perform their duties within required statutes and timelines. What experience do you bring to this position that makes you the best candidate to manage staff members?
Between military service and working in the trades, I have overseen, mentored, and trained many individuals, understanding that a staff is only as good as the individuals that make it up. I'm a believer in setting up your teammates for success. Listen to what they need to get the job done and pursue it. Provide the training needed and give opportunities that lead to positive career progressions.
Dory?
Number 1, I lead by example. I know how to do every position in our office. The staff sees and appreciates me pitching in with their work whenever some people are gone or when it gets busy. This also helps me to continue to understand the office as a whole. It allows me to make the improvements that are needed. It's not just simply managing down. You have to manage up. My employees see me do that, and they know I have their back. I am not afraid to make tough decisions when necessary. I have a vision for the future and looking out for the employees. I encourage education, whether that means completing their degree or taking additional trainings through the judicial branch. I also set expectations with the staff. We work together and we decide what they would like to accomplish in the next year. This is exciting as it helps them meet and exceed even what they thought they could accomplish. Thank you.
Okay, final question, Dory. You'll get to answer first. If you were able to accomplish just one thing during your elected term, what would it be and why?
I have the exceptional ability of getting into the weeds and understanding how things work so I can then examine the multiple interwoven processes from the 40,000-foot level. I am always looking for ways to remove the complexity while maintaining the exacting results. The most important goal is the completion of the cross-training of this staff, resulting in new job descriptions, higher pay grades, and fewer full-time employees.
Matt, what's the one thing that you would accomplish and why?
Finding significant cuts in my office's budget that impresses the taxpayers that demand the same from the rest of the county. With the rise in inflation, now more than ever, the importance of our residents to keep their hard-earned money is at its greatest.
Okay, now it's time for closing remarks. Matt, we'll let you go first.
Thank you. Over the last few years, we have witnessed too many cases of our leaders bending the knee to influences outside of the county and to cronies inside of it. By taking money from governments outside of the county, like COVID relief, we doom our residents to all strings attached. We need a libertarian to say we only care about what's important to Sarpy residents that put in the hard work, freely cooperating in our local economy, helping make each other more prosperous. I'm that libertarian. I'm Matt Lawrence, asking you to put me to the task and electing me as clerk of the district court. Thank you.
Tori, you get the final word.
I won the 2018 elections here in Sarpy County with 3 opponents while running as the most qualified candidate. I was then, and I still am. Under my leadership, the Sarpy County District Court was presented with the Omaha Bar Association's 2021 Public Service Award for our outstanding effort to put forth during COVID when so much of the economy and businesses were shutting down. My staff and I implemented out-of-the-box thinking to keep the staff safe while staying open to the public and keeping the wheels of justice turning. My goal is to prepare the district court for the future and not the right now. It is not good enough to make 1 or 2 improvements and call it a day. The district court must be prepared for the future so it can perform its mandated responsibilities well beyond my tenure. Sarpy County taxpayers absolutely deserve the best from their county and state officials. Thank you for your support. I hope I have your vote.
Thank you, Dory and Matthew. Thank you for participating tonight. The audience may applaud. We will now hear from our county treasurer candidates. Please welcome to the stage in alphabetical order, Trace Jones, Kim Young, and Brian Zuger.
Okay, one final time in case y'all forgot. We need to remind you of the process. Before the forum began, we had the candidates draw numbers out of a box to determine who would go first on the first question. After that, the last candidate to speak on a question will be the first to answer the next question. But before we get into that, we'll do opening remarks. And Kim, you get to start things.
Podium wasn't getting much use tonight, so I thought I would be the podium user tonight. Good evening. First, I would like to thank Michelle Andahl and the Bellevue Chamber for hosting this forum, and also you, Tori, for moderating. I'm happy to meet some of my fellow candidates tonight who are on the ballot for the election cycle of 2022 with me. My name is Kim Young, and I am your Democratic candidate for Sarpy County Treasurer. In fact, I am the only Democrat in Sarpy County running for a county office. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I have lived in this wonderful community for over 20 years with my retired Air Force bivocational pastor husband, Delon. We have raised 3 children, 2 of which were born right here in Bellevue, Nebraska, when Offutt EB Clinic was a hospital. As far as my qualifications, I have a bachelor's degree with a major in business administration and a minor in accounting. I have an MBA with an emphasis in finance. My professional work experience includes working as a cost accountant, financial analyst, and purchasing card administrator, where I have performed with professionalism, integrity, and outstanding performance. I am currently an educator serving in 2 school districts within Sarpy County. Recent data has shown that Sarpy County is the fastest growing county in Nebraska, which we all know. It has grown over 20% in the last 10 years. It is the 3rd most populous behind Douglas and Lancaster County, and they have expanding school systems and regular announcements of significant new business investment, like the Google Data Center and the Amazon Distribution Center. I believe that the Sarpy County Treasurer's Office should be equipped to accommodate this growth. I look forward to sharing with you this evening why I want to be your Sarpy County Treasurer, to talk a little bit about my experience, the skills I will bring to this office, and what my priorities are. Thank you for coming, and remember, you can count on Kim Young, to be your next Sarpy County Treasurer. Thank you.
Okay, Trace, you're up next.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Trace Jones, currently your Sarpy County Interim Treasurer, and I'm asking for your support this year in this year's election as the Treasurer. And the reason I'm asking for your support is I think the 3 most important things that the Treasurer's Office can provide is accountability, transparency, and customer service. And I think the Treasurer's Office has excelled in all 3 of those areas since I've been in the office over the last year. Sarpy County taxpayers deserve to know that their hard-earned tax dollars are accounted for, secured, and distributed to the proper entities in accordance with the Nebraska statute and the county tax levy. And that's exactly what we've been doing. $400 million in, $400 million out, all going to the right places, and monthly account reconciliations balancing to 0 for 12 consecutive months. And we will continue that accounting excellence as long as I'm in that office. To ensure transparency of the office, I invited the state auditors back for an attestation. And they agreed to come, and that attestation is actually going on right now. And some people have said, Trace, that's crazy to ask the auditors to come back, and that could be political suicide if it goes wrong. And my answer is, it's not political. It's about accountability and transparency. And that's important. It's important that I know that we're doing things right, and it's important that you all know that we're doing things right. And I'm confident and hopeful at the end of this month when that report comes out that they're just going to confirm, that the auditors are just going to confirm what we already know, and that's that we're practicing accounting excellence. I'm also very pleased with the customer service improvements we've made in the office over the last year. When I first took over the office in April of 21, it took 78 minutes to register and title a new vehicle. And we knew we had to get better. That was unacceptable. We had to do better for the Sarpy County taxpayers because they deserve that. Fast forward 4 months to August of 21, we had knocked that wait time down to just over 10.5 minutes. And from September until current, average customer wait times have been less than 3 minutes. And we're going to we take great pride in those numbers, and we're going to continue to give that fast, friendly, accurate customer service to the citizens of Sarpy County. And if you want more of the same that you've been getting from the Treasurer's Office in the areas of accountability, transparency, and customer service, vote Trace Jones for Treasurer, and I'll ensure that we get you that. Thank you.
Brian, your thoughts?
Good evening, everybody. I'm Brian Zuger. I am running, obviously, for Sarpy County Treasurer. I want to thank Michelle and the Chamber for putting this on tonight, and thank you for moderating tonight also. Obviously, first off, I'll address the elephant in the room. Yes, I am the treasurer that was removed by the county board in April of last year due to an attestation that happened when I was in office. And it was an unfortunate situation for us coming out of COVID. And it's a situation that I want to go back and try to finish fixing what we were fixing. Of all of the things in the state's report that was given, we had fixed everything by the time the county board had their meeting. So we had already put all of the fixes in place by the time that it happened. Now let's talk a little bit about why I'm running again. Because a lot of people have asked me, and I think that's our first question, as a matter of fact anyway, is why would you even want to go back? The reason why I want to go back is I want to finish what I started. When I walked into that office, the office was a cultural vacuum. There was a chain of command that was one leader and a bunch of people that worked underneath that person, and there was no leadership structure whatsoever. We developed that leadership structure. The second thing that we did when I went in that office was we started to modernize the office. We brought in 2 computer systems. One was a state-mandated motor vehicle system that has now sped up the times that Trace was talking about earlier. The second system was a new tax assessment and collection system that we brought in, and I want to finish bringing that to fruition. The third thing that I want to worry about, and then the final thing that we brought in, was a system that allowed to help reduce wait times by offering a virtual waiting line. Now, they're not using the virtual system yet, but I think that we can spin that up pretty quickly to help reduce waiting times. A little bit about myself. I was educated right here at Bellevue University. I've got a bachelor's degree in organizational leadership. I've got a master's degree in public administration with a specialization in leadership. I think one of our questions later talks about the value of leadership. We'll talk about that a little bit more. But besides that, I have a long history of public experience. I was voted as your county commissioner right here for Ward 3, or for District 3. As a county commissioner, I was the one who lobbied for the sewer system in Bellevue for Sarpy County. I was also the person who helped with a lot of mental health and the new jail that's being built now. So again, Brian Zuger, I appreciate your support.
Okay, let's move into the question portion of this forum. Kim, you'll start. We'll give you question 1. Why do you want to be elected as county treasurer?
Thank you so much for that question. I want to be your Sarpy County Treasurer because I love this community and I want to represent you, the people of this community, well. I am not a seasoned politician, but an ordinary citizen, just like you. Also, as I mentioned previously, I am the only Democrat in Sarpy County running for county office. I believe that there should be a balance. Those serving an elected office should be qualified candidates reflecting the communities that they represent. If elected as Sarpy County Treasurer, my priorities will be to provide accuracy, accessibility, accountability, and integrity. Accuracy in dispersing and investing funds. Accessibility in that bank statements, reconciliations, and other financial documentation is easily accessible. Accountability and to those who entrust us to serve them, providing transparency, due diligence, and quick service, whether it be to school districts, property owners, or those registering their vehicles. And lastly, integrity in making sure that I am upright and fair-minded in managing employment dynamics and or any other issues that may arise in the treasurer's office. Thank you. If they're going to continue to sit there, I'm just going to stay here. Thank you.
Trace, why do you want to be elected?
The reason I want to be elected as the county treasurer is because over the last year as the interim treasurer, I've put a lot of hard work. I've put my heart and soul into turning that office around, and I want to enjoy the fruits of my labor. It's been tough. It hasn't been easy. When the Board of Commissioners called me last April of 2021, I was working as the County Veteran Service Officer, and I loved that job. It was my dream job. But I gave up that dream job to answer their call to service, and I haven't regretted it. And even though I miss serving our veterans, our Treasurer's Office has a great impact on the community. I've never had any political aspirations, and I do not have any political aspirations outside of the Treasurer's Office. I'm just a guy who really likes the job, who absolutely loves his staff, and takes great pride in providing the citizens of Sarpy County a Treasurer's Office that is efficient and one that they can trust.
Brian?
You know, again, I think I alluded to this previously is, people have thought, I might be nuts running for this office again. And the reason why I want to go back is really for one genuine reason. I want to finish what I started. But more importantly, I actually have 3 main focuses I want to concentrate on in my next term as Sarpy County Treasurer. The first one is to continue to expand on the on the computer systems and the systems that our employees are using to get them better trained to service our taxpayers. We do have some great customer service agents in there, but I want to get some people in there that they're actually trained. When I first walked in, people weren't trained. They didn't even know how to run an Excel spreadsheet, most of them, and we had to send them to training classes. Luckily, I see Mark Walters sitting out here from our IT department. They make those classes enabled for our people. I want to send them to that. The second part, importantly, is that I really want to focus on expanding services to taxpayers. One of the things I did as the county treasurer was that I actually expanded our hours so that people that are working in jobs that can't get to the county courthouse between the hours of 8 and 4 could actually get to the courthouse. So we expanded our hours from then to 7 to 5:30 at night. Now that's since then been repealed, and I'd like to go back and make that more accessible to our people. The third is that I'd like to find new ways for you to do business with the county treasurer's office as well. Most importantly, that would be through new uses of computer systems, online mechanisms, and those types of things that allow you to access services from county government that we can roll out to all of county government, but specifically from the treasurer's office, so you don't have to come into the courthouse every day to pay your taxes or do those types of things. You can do that stuff online. Thank you.
Okay, we'll start with Trace for the second question. What are the most important challenges currently facing the treasurer's office?
I think the most important challenge facing the treasurer's office right now is this election. As they say, elections have consequences. And Sarpy County residents are going to have to decide if they want more of what they've had over the last year, and that's accountability and fast, friendly, accurate customer service. Do they want their minimal wait times of less than 3 minutes like they have now, or do they want the 78 minutes that they had before? Do they want a treasurer who practices accounting excellence like they have now, or one who doesn't? Or do they want someone who doesn't have experience in the office at all? I'm confident that me and my team can overcome any challenge that is put before us, even the exponential growth of Sarpy County, and still provide the premier level of service that we've been providing over the years. As long as I'm in that office, it doesn't matter what the problem or the challenge is. We're going to overcome it because we're going to take it on head on, and we're going to overcome it just like we have every other challenge we faced over the last year.
Brian, you can go next. What are the most challenges that you see facing the office?
You know, I think one of the biggest challenges that I can speak to, having been the treasurer for 2 years prior to this, was the issue of culture. When I first walked into that office, it was a cultural vacuum, ladies and gentlemen. The silos in the office had silos. The warring factions inside the office didn't know what was going on in the office. They didn't know who to trust. We started to establish trust. We put people into the office, that we developed a leadership team and put people in place that can start establishing trust with the employees. And I think that's the first thing. As a leader, one of the most important aspects of leadership is being trusted, being genuine, being authentic. And I think that's the first thing. They didn't come from that when I first took over, and so that's one of the first things we tried to build. So I think that's one of the first challenges. And then developing a culture of collaboration across the county, not just in the treasurer's office, but collaborating across county government. There's a little bit of a spirit of distrust in Sarpy County government sometimes, and we need our elected officials working together as a team, as one Sarpy. And that's one of the things I want to bring to the table.
Kim, your thoughts?
Well, from my viewpoint, I think that it's paramount that we continue to lobby the legislature to stop unfunded mandates to counties to keep property taxes low. When we place unfunded or underfunded mandates on our political subdivisions, they really have few options to pay for those mandates outside of property taxes. A bill, LR 263CA, was advanced in late March and will go on the ballot on November 8th in the general election if it wins 2 more floor votes. It says that the legislature shall not impose responsibility for a new program or an increased level of service after 2022 unless the local government is fully reimbursed by the state for its cost. It changes the focus from those who collect and spend the taxes to those who pay the taxes. Another challenge that we face is in the area of digital transformation and technology advances. I believe that the county can benefit by seeking electronic document management that strives for a centralized database across the county for all documents, forms, and data. This can help lessen data redundancy and provide more easily accessible information. As we invest and implement these technologies, we must also invest in training to equip our staffs to use these new tools with knowledge and ease.
Okay, Brian, you get to start the next question, and that is, what experience do you have that makes you the best candidate?
You know, that's a great question. Obviously, the answer to that is that I've been in the office. I was in the office for 2 years, and I know where the problems laid and how to fix them. The second part to that is that I have a master's degree in public administration with a specialization in finance. But to get back to my point of culture, I'm the one candidate in this election that actually works with building high-functioning, high-performing teams. I'm an executive business coach by trade. I'm a leadership consultant. I work with some of the largest companies in the area, helping them build high-functioning, high-performing teams. And that's what I was trying to do when I started the job, and that's why I want you to send me back to finish and do when I go back.
Kim, well, what experience do you bring?
The personal strengths that I possess, namely integrity, trust, honesty, and commitment, make me an ideal candidate. Additionally, my professional accounting experience includes working as a cost accountant and a financial analyst. Here, I completed monthly closing activities as well as verified data integrity for year-end processes. I've performed many reconciliations and worked discrepancies. I've developed, prepared, and analyzed budgets, forecasts, actual and long-range plans for spending, personnel, and capital. And I've coordinated and managed the planned fiscal inventory for goods totaling $70 million. This is just a snapshot which highlights a few of my job responsibilities that I've had in the past and shows that I am no stranger to reconciling accounts, preparing budgets, and digging into details. These are some of the very skills that would be of benefit in the Treasurer's office.
Trace, what experience do you bring to this position?
The experiences I bring to the Treasurer's office is I served for 28 years in the U.S. Air Force, and I was afforded many leadership opportunities at a very young age. And I learned a lot from those leadership and management experiences. But more importantly, and I have have a background in accounting and auditing while serving in the postal career field for 13 years. But more importantly, my experience over the last year as the interim treasurer is very important, because when I first came to the office, there was a lot of problems in the office. Customers were angry because the wait times were long. The staff was not happy because they felt mistreated by the previous leadership. And public trust was lost because of poor accounting practices and subsequent auditor's report that came out. But all that's fixed now. Wait times are down, staff is happy and productive, performing at a high level, providing great service to the community, and all the money's accounted for. So I would say that my experience and my proven results of accountability and fast, efficient, accurate customer service are what makes me the best candidate for this position.
Okay, we've gone a full rotation. We'll go back to Kim. You get to answer this question first. The county treasurer oversees a large staff and requires training and mentoring of those staff members. What experience do you bring to the position that makes you the best candidate to manage those staff members?
Thank you. Being a steady, empathetic leader who is an active listener has always been my management style. Managing staff is more than writing performance reviews. I have managed many projects in the past, including and spearheading a plant physical inventory of millions of dollars. This involved training, scheduling, and coordinating my team to accomplish this effort in a limited period so that production was not hampered and the results of that inventory indicated 99.97% accuracy. As an educator, I manage any number of classrooms with differing age groups, needs, and motivations to make sure that the classroom is focused and engaged so that the lesson plan is executed. As a pastor's wife, I deal with people having many contrasting needs, expectations, and personalities. This puts me in situations where I have to offer advice, take the lead to fill open gaps, be a listening ear, or offer a gentle reprimand. Knowing that the end goal is that we are all like-minded and working toward the mission that is set forth. From the workplace to my volunteer activities, we can only be successful if we move as one unit with a clear understanding of our goals and who we serve.
Trace, what about your experience that makes you the best candidate to manage this staff?
You know, I've been, the reason I'm the best candidate to manage the staff is because over the last year, I've been fortunate to serve as the Sarpy County interim treasurer, and I have to say the staff is absolutely fantastic. They're knowledgeable, dedicated, and take great pride in the job that they do, and I appreciate them very much. I'm the most capable of leading them because I already have a professional working relationship with each and every one of them. They know that I care about them, that I value them, and that I respect them. And I will give them the tools and resources they need to do the job, to get it done right. I'm the best person to lead them because I know that they are the most important people in the office, not me, the treasurer, that they are the most important people, the ones doing the work, the ones in the trenches every day serving our customers. They are great ambassadors of the county, and they are the face of Sarpy County, and they do a great job at what they do. And I'm the best person to lead them because I acknowledge that fact, and I appreciate them very much and everything they do to make our office great. Thank you.
Brian, what would you do to be the best to manage this staff?
You know, first off, Trace is absolutely right about one thing, and that is that the frontline employees are the most important people inside that county treasurer's office. The county treasurer is really a figurehead in a lot of ways. I mean, they're an administrative person that runs the day-to-day activities and is responsible for general leadership of the office. And that's an important part that I think that most people need to understand. They're not the person that's sitting there counting the books every day. They leave that work to qualified staff that they've trained. One of the biggest frustrations when I first went into the office was the lack of training that the staff actually had. They were great customer service agents, but they needed some specific training. Simple things like how to operate Outlook, how to work Excel spreadsheets, how to work with our new computer systems as they came online. And one of the things I want to make sure that we do is get them that training necessary. As a former county board member, I knew how hard it was to get things passed through our budget sometimes. And it's even harder as an elected official when the county board wants to tell you no, especially on training and development. When COVID hit, one of the first things to get cut was training because we couldn't do on-site training anymore. So we had to get rid of a lot of our training programs. And I think we need to invest more in the people. But the one area where I disagree with Trace is that the employees are the most important person in that office. He forgot the most important boss in this office, and that's everybody in this room. And if we're not providing the best customer service possible with the most knowledgeable and best trained staff possible, then we're doing you a disservice. And that's one of the things that I was working on when I was in office, and that's one of the things I'm going to continue to work on after when I get back in the office.
Okay, final question of this round. We'll let Trace have the first answer. If you were able to accomplish just one thing during your elected term, what would that be and why?
Well, I'm very pleased to say that over the last year, I've accomplished all three things that I was appointed to that office to do. And that's to reduce the wait times, to provide a professional and productive work environment for my staff, and to make sure the money's straight and accounted for. And if I'm elected this time around, I'm going to continue to provide that accountability and that fast, professional, accurate customer service that we've been providing over the last year. Thank you.
Brian, you're next. What would you do and why?
I think the answer to this question is, I'm going to answer with the 3 C's. It's about culture, collaboration, and consistency. It's about making sure that you have a well-developed culture, that people understand they're on the same team and they're all pushing forward. The second part is the spirit of collaboration. That's not just collaborating inside the treasurer's office, but it's the spirit of collaboration working with all county offices across the board, including the county board. Finally, is consistency, making sure that when you come into the treasurer's office, the experience you have at window 1 is the same experience you'd have at window 2, that everybody's been trained, developed, and motivated to provide the best customer service for the constituents at the time.
Kim, what would you accomplish and why?
I want to set the tone for what county government can look like when all officials are working together to exemplify how we can move our county forward together. This means that though we may differ with one another, we can do so respectfully in a way that focuses on what is best for the county. It allows us to compromise and still get things done without erecting needless roadblocks that end up negatively impacting the county as a whole. Yes, my primary focus is the treasurer's office, but if I can offer a suggestion or collaborate with another office in the county to make improvements, it's a win for all of us. To borrow from 1 Corinthians 12, indeed, there are many members, yet one body. And the eye cannot say to the hand, I have no need of you, nor again the head to the feet, I have no need of you. No, much rather, those members of the body which seem to be weaker are necessary. There is unity in diversity. We all have different skill sets that we bring to the table. If we work together successfully for the common good, then others in the community will follow our lead, and the sky will be the limit.
Okay, now each of you will be allowed to give closing remarks, and we'll go back to the top of the rotation. Kim, you start.
Thank you. I am happy to share closing remarks with you. And again, I thank everyone that had a part in organizing this forum and my participation in it. Who am I? Kim Young, Democratic candidate for Sarpy County Treasurer. What are my priorities? My priorities will be to provide accuracy, accessibility, accountability, and integrity in the Treasurer's office. Why should you vote for me? I have the background, qualifications, character, and vision to take our county treasurer's office to the next level. How will I accomplish this? Through effective communication with my staff, the board, and others in county government, being an active listener, leading by example, and consistently working hard and with integrity for you, the city of Bellevue, as well as for the entire Sarpy County community. When and where can this happen? November 8th, at your polling place or by early voting. But I cannot do it alone. I need your support. Go to electkimyoung.com to donate, sign up, or volunteer for my campaign. When you call and talk to people, what will you tell them? You will tell them that your vote counts and that they can count on Kim Young, as their next Sarpy County Treasurer. God bless you.
Trace, your final thoughts.
Over the last year, as your interim treasurer, me and my team have produced outstanding results in the areas of accountability, transparency, and great customer service. And if you want more of the same, vote Trace Jones for treasurer, and I will continue to deliver those outstanding results to you. Thank you.
Brian, you get the last word.
I want to again thank the Chamber. Thanks, Michelle, for hosting this event tonight. Thank you for moderating tonight as well. Thank all the candidates, actually, for showing up tonight. I think it's great whenever we can do these. I don't know if we do enough of these, actually, to get enough information out to the voters. So I think these things are great. It's been my pleasure to serve you as your county commissioner for 2 years, starting in 2017. I think we got a lot done for Sarpy County, and we got a lot to look forward to the way the county's growing. It's also been my pleasure to serve you as your treasurer for 2 years. I'm looking forward to seeing the results in May, as well as anybody up here. I think we have 3 good qualified candidates tonight that I think all of them have a unique approach to the way that they want to take this office and what direction they want to take this office. But I think really it comes down to one theme, and that is a theme of teamwork. And I think with me, if I get back in the office, it's about building the team to where the team needs to be. And that's an emotional subject for me because I'm all about teamwork. As an executive business coach and as executive leadership coach, it's my pleasure when I get to get a high-functioning team, get them built and get them running on a smooth trail, and they're all pushing for the same vision, the same value, which is one united Sarpy. Thank you very much.
We want to thank all of you for participating tonight in the forum. The audience may applaud at this point. We have had a few questions submitted from the audience. Is there anyone who still has a question that they have yet to turn in? All right, we will start. We have a question that was submitted for the candidates for the clerk of the district court. Would you like to take the stage again, please? Can we do it like we did in the beginning, and whoever went first said it amenable to all? Okay. Okay, here is the question that was submitted by an audience member. It says, what is the history of your interest in the office? And I have an understanding that one of the candidates may have been interested in a different office.
Okay. As I stated under one of the questions, I first ran for office of the clerk of the district court in Colfax County in 2002 after having a career in the child support enforcement office in Fremont. That would be my qualification. This would be my 6th term as a district court clerk, as I've stated, and I believe my experience, the knowledge, and my education bodes me well in serving the constituents of Sarpy and also the actual staff. And I did not file for any other office. Thank you.
Okay. Matthew.
I believe that question was directed at me. Originally, my intent was to run for county sheriff, but being new to the political game and running for office, I'm learning as I go, and I missed a crucial deadline. And I had enough time to file for another race. And the clerk of the district court shares a lot of the involvement with laws and people going to jail or prison for victimless crimes. So I chose that one as a way to represent libertarian values in another race.
Okay. And that was the only question from the audience.
Thank you very much.
Thank you both again for being here tonight. The only questions we have left are all related to the candidates or office of mayor. So if the mayoral candidates would like to take the stage. Thanks for coming back up. There's quite a bit of interest in the mayor's race, apparently. All right. Do the 3 of you mind again if we do it like we did whoever went first last time? Do we have that? Okay. And then the mayor. That's okay. This question is submitted from the audience. This person had 2 questions. We will start with you, Bez. How do you plan to make Old Town Bellevue attractive to new businesses? Oh, yeah.
Old Town Bellevue. Let's see, last time I was down there, there was 3 park benches, some trees that have been carved. We need to make that a little bit more modern down there. How? I really couldn't tell you. It's been abandoned the way it looks. Reminds me of the old ghost towns out west. We need to get a infusion. We need to get people enthused about going downtown. There's on the list of honeydews for the city is a park, Hero Park. There, as you go across the railroad tracks, north side. Now, when I look at that, I think we're going to spend, I think it was $30 million has been kind of figured towards that. It's great. It's great. But you got to go through downtown Bellevue to get to it. And when you look at downtown Bellevue, I think a lot of people are going to turn around and go back. And to go to the other side, you'd have to come through the Iowa side. We got to make it attractive. We got to do something besides carve up dead trees and put up some LED lights and so forth. And 3 benches. We need to make it more attractive and more attractive to business. To do that, that's something I would have to look into. Again, research, find out what all the issues are, and then I might be able to give you an answer.
Sorry, and I forgot to tell you, we're doing the 2-minute timer again on this, so. Oh, you need to ask a question. Do you want me to ask the question again, or? Yeah. Okay. How do you plan to make Old Town Bellevue attractive to new businesses?
So there's this trend of standing, so I missed out on it and I didn't get the memo. You know, as it relates to Old Town Bellevue, what we really need is to start building up our neighborhoods. And I've advocated for things like walkability. You know, that's a huge part. The other thing is that if we, I just want to say this as respectfully as possible. I think what we really need is if you really take a look at Old Town, and if I tell you what the issue is, it's really a good old boy system. That sounds cliche, but the truth is, you know, all we've got in Old Town Bellevue right now is some of these shady deals. And don't get me wrong, there are some good things, right? But I think that also happens in spite of who's in this office. And I'd also say, you know, Buzz mentioned that we, you know, he talked about American Heroes Park, right? Well, we just had a HDR come in and do a study, right? And then they gave us this $31 million price tag, and there's this made-up number, you know, of $40 million for a library, right? And if we can't afford that, how can we afford a $31 million investment in a park? I mean, so there's just a lot of things going on, and I think that there needs to be more transparency and more of a vision laid out for that area, less vacant ground, and just we got to stop this whole good old boy insider, you know, let's make some shady deals, and you know, this is going to benefit you. It's just that isolation that I think really hurts Old Town Bellevue.
It's been the topic of Thomas's campaign, his smear campaign against me. I am one of the good old boys, he thinks. So let me address that. Old Town Bellevue is probably the best community center in the entire metro area. You have over 10,000 people within a 3-minute drive time of Franklin and Mission. There's no reason that city can't survive down there. The Quick Shop has grocery carts. When is the last time you seen a grocery cart in a Quick Shop? Go down to Old Town Bellevue. They're in there. That tells me one thing. The people that need better services, cheaper services, are paying more. You don't get discounts at Quick Shop. So you have to understand the dynamics. The real estate down there leases for $6 a square foot. There is no vacant space in Old Town right now. No vacant space. There might be one office down there. Everybody's down there because it's cheap footage. You can rent climate-controlled storage in Papillion or West Omaha at $6 a square foot. It's messed up. That's why we've got the 2 city blocks of Bellevue that prior administration would not do anything to make something happen there. We've got a $30, $40 million private project. We're not paying city money for that. Let me skip. We've got the American Heroes Park down there. There's a lot of attractions down there, and that's my goal. I firmly believe that if you lose your Main Street, you lose your town. There's no identity. So my goal is to bring Bellevue's identity to Old Town Bellevue, and we've got investors working on a huge project with 20,000 square feet of retail and over 100 apartments above it. So I'm working hard on it. There is no good old boy system. That's a cliche. And I'm going to tell you what, I will never make any money off this city unless it's fully disclosed. I've been accused of it, and I'm tired of it because it's absolutely a false smear campaign. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question, same person asked this question. How diverse is the Bellevue Police and Fire Department? Who went first on that one?
So, yeah.
Sorry, how diverse is the Bellevue Police and Fire Department? With us.
So, just to be real upfront here, I really couldn't give you specific numbers. I know that we've really had a lot of challenges, but I will talk highly. I do think that our current chief of police has done a really good job, and for, especially when it comes to the 30 by 30 program and also seeing more women in the police force, I do give kudos, and I do think that is one of the good things going for us in this city.
Diversity of the police force, again, as said earlier tonight, we started, I think Councilwoman Welch talked about it. When I took office, I think we had 82 police officers. It did not look like the makeup of our city either. We are up to 105. Our new police chief, who was an incredible hire, hunted down by this administration that others can't seem to get behind, has made remarkable strides. He's brought our police department up to 105. He's joined the national 30 by 30 initiative, which is to have 30% of our police force women by the year 2030. He's doing an outstanding job. If you look it up in the Washington Post, they just did a big article on it. So I would ask you to look that article up. It's amazing what he's doing. I'm very proud of what Chief Clary's doing. Another great hire, another great addition to our team, and we're making huge strides. And we have, I think, 6 or 7 Hispanic-speaking officers. We had 1 when I got into office. So I think probably enough said on that. We're making huge strides, and somebody's not paying attention. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. We have some questions. Someone submitted them. Oh, I apologize. I'm so sorry. No, you got to answer the question.
I really can't address that. For what I've seen, they do a bang-up job. I mean, your police department. Now, I do have one question, though, or one request. Could you kind of migrate them out a little south maybe build a station. Just take that in consideration, because that bunch across the street from me, they're going all the time. They'll be worn out. But again, I think y'all are doing a bang-up job.
I think there's so much growth coming in that southwest part that you'll see something in the future.
Okay, good.
I think we're all done.
Okay, so, and we have 3 questions that were submitted. They were done as individual questions. I think what we'll do is apply them like we've done to everyone. Can you please share one thing that you would like to share that you've done for our city? Went first on the last one.
Last part of that question.
Can you talk about one thing that you have done for our city?
I'll start. I've talked about it all night long. I've done a lot more than one thing for our city. I believe in this city, love this city, and we're going to continue to do great things in this city. What's the one thing that I think's the best? That is assembling a team, an administration team with department heads that communicate, they do their job, and they get it done. That's the whole secret. If there's a secret to how we get so much done, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. I'm here. That's it.
Thanks, Buzz. No, I've talked a lot about the library, and I think that really is a source of civic pride. I think that we're actually failing our city with what we're doing right now. I've advocated for that. I've fought for that. I've fought for city parks, and not just publicity stunts to give to the news media, but I mean our neighborhood parks. The parks where families actually go to make memories and they spend a lot of time at. I've advocated for walkability. Old Town Bellevue in particular has really bad sidewalks, right? So whether you're walking your kids to school, whether you're elderly, I've witnessed people fall, whether you need handicap accessibility, but these are things that impact everyday people. These are the things that build up a neighborhood, and those are the things that I've fought for. So, thanks.
We have one more question. Can each of you tell us one way that you helped during the floods, or if there's more than one way, just talk about that. Tell us about a way that you helped during the Great Flood in Bellevue in 2019.
I think the biggest part from a council perspective is essentially what had happened, and I don't think this is anything negative, but there was just so much damage that had happened, and I think we really benefited a lot of those families after the fact, and part of that was putting the liens on the property owner, which took a lot of the people who lived there off the hook because they weren't actually the property owner to the land portion of those homes. And so and then the other thing about that is just really trying to be there for people. It's really tough because I think everybody is in a crisis. So is there one thing that I could have done from a council perspective different? I don't think so. I think I did all that I could have done. So.
Thank you.
So that was my baptism. That's the first thing that happened right past the record snowfalls we had. In March, we were looking for places to put snow. We were out of salt. Everybody forgets about the record snows we had in 2019, so we're all praying for warmth, right? It happened, followed up by the flood, March 16th, 2019. Displaced 600 families from our community overnight. That was very trying for me. meeting with all those families, coming up with solutions for them. I'm going to tell you, that's where my heart is. I was at all those meetings that we had for those people and helping them, taking their calls, talking to FEMA to try to help them out. Did I see Councilman Burns at any of those? No, I did not. None of them. It occupied a lot, if not all of my time. I love this community. Those things affect me. Thank you.
Thank you. Buzz. Oh, I didn't forget you. I'm resetting my timer.
What did I do? Well, for starters, I wasn't a resident at the time. We got annexed afterwards. However, nothing. I stayed the hell out of the way. There are professionals that are supposed to handle these situations. The mayor, city council. I stayed the hell out of the way and let them do their job. If they would have said, hey, we're on our knees, okay. But I can't interfere with professionals. That's just going against everything I ever grew up with. So both of you, bang up job.
Thank you. And that is it. That is the conclusion of the questions for tonight. Thank you. If you all would mind staying on the stage, if all of the candidates who participated tonight are still here, or any remaining candidates that are still here, if you'd like to come up on the stage, please, we'd like to get a class picture, let's say, if that's okay.
Maybe you'll walk in the shoes. You have my cell phone number. We have that picture. I absolutely will, yeah.
And we will make sure to get the picture to everyone.
Tall people in the front.
You all might have to squeeze just a little bit. You know what? So give me 2 minutes. I'm going to go back a couple items.
Tell us where to look.
Look at the main camera.
And anybody who has a camera, you're welcome to take a picture of your favorite candidate. All right. Everybody say cheese. Cheese. Everybody say candidate. And then, could I get someone to get a picture of Tori and I on each end of our amazing candidates for tonight? Tori, could you
Not really.
Tori, don't be so enthusiastic.
Okay, I won't.
You guys all in? All right, 1, 2, 3. Took several.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. And that concludes our program for tonight. Thank you so much.
Say it so nice. Yep, say it twice.